Let's talk about realigning the SEC coaches. Alabama, number 4, hosts number 2, Georgia, Saturday night, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Georgia is a 1.5-point favorite. This is the first time since 2011 that Alabama, or 2015, one of those two, that Alabama is a underdog in the regular season. It's the first time since 2007 they are an underdog at home, is what I read. All eyes on Kalen DeBoer, new Alabama coach. And this is what makes it very interesting to me, this specific game being the opener. I know they did it for TV, but it is a little Shakespearean old school reading here. I know, books. I'm scaring the pod listeners. We're not big book people here, but that's all right. So Kalen DeBoer is succeeding the legend, Nick Saban, and that is always a tricky thing. And he comes in, and Kalen DeBoer has to do things Kalen DeBoer's way, because you know why? Very successful. Just led Washington to the national championship game, had a really good second season at Fresno State when he was there. Prior to that, won 3 national titles at the University of Sioux Falls, right? University of Sioux Falls, the real USF.
Yeah, what is it, 11 losses in 12 seasons?
4 titles, or maybe won 4 titles in 5 years. I don't know, whatever. Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a football coach, and he runs a hell of a football program, but he's going to do things a little differently than Nick Saban. But he has to try to show everybody who's watching that post-Saban, post-Saban, is going to work. Across the way is Saban 2.0. First game is Kirby Smart, Saban's longtime assistant, I think 9 seasons in Tuscaloosa, leaves to take over Georgia, puts his stamp on the Georgia program, and by all accounts runs it pretty much exactly like Alabama ran theirs, and has won 2 national titles. They are 49-2 over the last parts of the last 4 years. The 2 losses are to Saban. That's it. So we have Saban 2.0 against post-Saban. And the fans have to appreciate, it's obviously not like a must-win game or anything, but if you want to show that it's going to be all right, you want to win, but you really don't want to lose to the guy that's doing it the same way it was done before. I don't know. It's just an interesting wrinkle. This is not a must-win game for Kalen DeBoer. You can win this, you can lose this game, as Saban has lost in the regular season, still win the SEC, make the playoffs, still win the national title. You can have a statue one day up there on that Hall of Fame walk with Bear Bryant and the others. But interesting opponent across the way is that it is Saban's mirror image. Pat.
Fascinating. Can't wait. Going to be there. This, yes, it gets real for Kalen DeBoer now, because out of all Nick Saban's incredible accomplishments, to me, probably, at least maybe the most impressive, is to completely own Georgia at a time when Georgia has been phenomenal. Saban was 8-2 against Georgia, 5-1 against Kirby Smart, and their games were all extremely consequential, and they've met. The 2017 championship game, the famous Tua 2nd and 26 bomb to Devontae Smith when we didn't know much about either guy. And that was when Tua came off the bench to replace Jalen Hurts. Next year, the SEC championship game, playoff bid on the line, and they go the opposite way. Tua gets hurt, and Hurts comes off the bench and leads him back, and Kirby makes a terrible fake punt call with a guy named Justin Fields as the up back. 2020 regular season, one of the great teams I've seen, Alabama, blasted Georgia on its way to an undefeated national championship game. 2021 SEC championship upset. Georgia's the undefeated team and looks unbeatable. Alabama beats them. They both go to the playoff, and that's where Kirby finally gets over on Nick. And thank God, if you're a Georgia fan, for Keely Ringo, who had the pick 6 in that game, because if it weren't for that and you somehow lost it, and then you lost again last year in the SEC championship game as a favorite, oh my God, the Alabama nightmare would be unbearable. As it is, it's pretty hard to deal with for Georgia just to win one time. And that's Kirby has at times coached like he's staring at a ghost when Saban was on the other sideline. We'll see if he gets a little more relaxed when Saban is not over there in Tuscaloosa on Saturday.
It's wild when you look at the series, like Pat said, how dominant Alabama had been, because for the last few years, obviously, when you look at recruiting rankings and such, these two teams were fairly even, and you would expect the series to be even. But I think Pat nailed it. When they play, Kirby seemed to make some rather interesting decisions in games, especially late. And you do wonder if that is, people make decisions that sometimes are miscalculated based on, I think, the pressure that they feel. And the guy across the sideline was that. And now that guy is not there. He'll be across the sideline up in the booth in his suite, which should be fascinating. I remember talking to somebody when Alabama upset Georgia in the SEC championship game this last year. And this was after Nick Saban had announced his retirement. And the person actually seriously thought that Nick Saban would have not retired had he lost to Kirby. Now take it for what it's worth. But this person really thought that if he had lost to Kirby in that SEC championship game, that he would have come back. So there is something, and I think it's pretty public, between those two people. And they kind of fell out, right, when Kirby went to Georgia. And most people, I think, maybe not nationally, but within the SEC, know that there was some beef there, usually rooted in on the recruiting trail and staff decisions that Kirby made and all that stuff. And so now he's not there. And so you wonder if that will help the Bulldogs in some way. When you look at the teams, it's just like normal, I feel like, right? They're both incredibly talented. When you do like the star rankings and such, it's pretty tight. It's pretty close. I'll be there too. It should be exciting. I think a certain former president will be there. So that'll be a fun traffic disaster and circus to get through, as Pat shakes his head. Yes.
Yeah. The security, just got worse.
It'll be chaos, as it should be. A night game too. All day under Denny chimes. It's everything that you expect this game to be and this visit to be. How, Pat, do you see this game playing out? I listened to Kalen DeBoer's presser, and he's just talking about playing Georgia, and I think it's sort of that moment when people get to the SEC. It's just like the depth of talent. Like in most schools, if you have a talented guy, he's a great receiver, he's also your punt returner, they just bring out a new guy. He's the punt returner, and your receiver's resting, or whatever. Like the depth is incredible. How do you see this? How do you see this playing out? You can make your pick Thursday, but
a couple. But some key factors. Georgia's one of 3 teams in the country that has not committed a turnover this year, and that's, I think, will be the biggest factor. Is the teams are close enough in talent that I don't think you can give the other team easy points. And Georgia has not done that. They have got to, they've taken care of the ball. If they continue to take care of the ball, I think they're in great shape here. But the one thing, Georgia has not run the ball very well. They have not been a traditional, overwhelming at the point of attack sort of Georgia team like Kirby has had, and which he modeled very much from Saban. They need to run better. They need to tackle better than they did against Kentucky too. They got pushed around a little bit by Kentucky, which was pretty surprising. If you're Alabama, you need Milroe to play extremely well, which he has. I think he's going to have to use his legs and hit throws. And then you got to stop Carson Beck. I think it's a great quarterback matchup. Two guys that are really good playing at or near the height of their games, and whichever quarterback has the better day may well get out of there with a win.
Yeah, it's going to be physical. I mean, even with a new coach, the talent is all there for Alabama. So very, very interesting game. Going to be a fantastic scene. I imagine it'll be a 10 million plus rating thing. And I don't know how you can't be excited about this one.